Thank you, sir, for a wonderful presentation. Good afternoon. I thought I just could borrow the last slide as the first slide for my presentation, right? That's what we're going to talk about for the next 15 minutes. But again, before getting into that, how many of us know more than 70% of the digital transformation projects fail? The reasons, is it technology? I will probably take a break now. I will not talk about banking. I will not talk about anything related to BFSI. Rather, I will talk about a very interesting story and then try to see whether we can understand the reasons for the failure in digital transformation. How many of you know this story? Blockbuster versus Netflix. Many of you already know, right? Quite famous because Blockbuster, when Netflix started in 1997, right? They started with one idea. They said, I'm going to start a website. Blockbuster is a cassette rental company in US, right? So it's extremely difficult. I need to pay late fee every time I forget to return the cassettes. So they said, I'm going to make it extremely simple, right? I'll probably have a website, and when someone asks for a movie, I'm going to ship that DVD, right? That's the first change. Instead of cassettes, DVD was like fairly new. They said, instead of selling cassettes, because it's going to be super expensive, and I'm shipping something like a cassette, which is big, I will ship the DVD, right? And then they said, that's the first pivot, right? But again, this is what we normally do. This is a technology transformation. Instead of cassettes, I am selling DVDs. Instead of shops, physical shops, I am actually having a website through which I'm selling the DVDs, right? But is this the one which made Netflix the most successful company out there right now? Is it just the technology part of it? It is not. If you look at this graph, Netflix in 2000, they won't actually sell it to Blockbuster. In 2000, Blockbuster is like $6 billion worth company. And they had 9,000 rental stores in US, right? So Netflix, they want to sell the business to Blockbuster, but it failed, right? They want to just sell it for 50 million, right? Blockbuster didn't see a value. Yeah, there is a technical advantage, but I can replicate the technology. I can still create blockbuster.com, and instead of selling cassettes, I can sell DVDs as well, right? No big difference. But again, Blockbuster went down. It became bankrupt. And by 2010, it's valued only at 24 million. They have only one physical store right now available from 9,000 stores throughout US, right? Netflix is valued at 203 billion right now. And this is not just because they have better technology, resulted in beating Blockbuster, right? That's what we're going to talk about right now. So this picture is the last physical Blockbuster store available right now. This is open right now, right? So Blockbuster, again, they launched streaming service as well. They had websites. They started shipping DVDs. But Netflix did something that is completely different, which is their culture, their people, right? Just continuing from the last presentation, they said it is not just about technology, right? It is about how do I create a culture of innovation within the organization, right? How do I make sure that everyone who is part of Netflix is innovating, is actually thinking about something new, right? So they were able to make three big pivots. The first pivot is DVD. That's how they started. The next big pivot is streaming. From DVD, they moved to streaming. And the third big pivot is production. They started producing their own movies and series, right? So they were able to continuously change the business model because they created a culture of innovation. They enabled pretty much everyone inside the organization, created what we call as a high-performance team. Everyone in the team is like super good, right? Everyone start thinking about how to improve the business, not just the leadership team, right? So they literally ran as a collective. That what results in the success of digital transformation. If we just believe there is like one team called a digital transformation team who will take care of transforming the business, who will introduce new processes, who will introduce new tools and products, right? And will magically compete against the digital native organizations, that's going to fail, Organizations that understand that there are three pillars. Technology is, of course, the first pillar. The second one is the cultural transformation. And the third one is the business model transformation. I can't do the business the same way I was like doing 10 years before, right? We're talking about lift and shift. I can't just move all the products from on-prem to cloud and make sure that, yeah, I am cloud ready, right? You need to change the way we do business. The recent example is wallets, e-wallets. The whole banking system is going through a massive transformation right now, right? So that's what you are talking about. Many times, the organizations think only about the first part of it, the technology transformation. From on-prem, can I move to cloud, right? Can I buy other products? Because you're talking about Savior and Messiah, right? They come and talk about a lot of different products which they can buy, right? Which will magically transform the organization. That never happens, right? So we need to look at our strengths, the people and the knowledge, right? And try to see how they can use that and quickly move the organization forward. It's about empowering the business teams, right? Empowering them so that they can solve their problems. And it's also about the hyper-personalization, because the bank, we are catering to a digital first millennials, right? The way they think, the way they operate is completely different. So it is about hyper-personalized solutions for the individuals as well. And who has the knowledge? Is it the IT organization, right? IT organization is a serving organization. Whatever the business needs, they'll be able to actually cater to your needs, right? And it's extremely unfair to, for the IT org to think about every possible changes they can bring to the business, right? So IT still need to take care of all the core businesses. They need to take care of all the most complex part of the business, but they should probably give control to the business teams to manage their work, right? So that's where we are talking about, right? So as part of cultural transformation, we need to see business as a partner in the transformation, right? Not as someone who just gives input so that IT can do it for them. And we need to be extremely agile in the sense we need to try out like a lot of new approaches, try to see if they are successful. If they are not successful, we need to probably try out something else, right? So we should not worry about the failures. And for the technology transformation, it is about democratizing application development in the sense, instead of IT owning the whole IT infrastructure, right? Give some part of that to the business themselves so that they can actually develop or deploy those applications. Probably we're going to look at a case study where this happened successfully in Philippines as well, right? So this is what we call as citizen development, right? So of course, many of you already have low-code products, but low-code, there is a very niche category called citizen development, which enables the business users to develop their own use cases without relying on IT. But the biggest challenge, many of you are from security functions in your organizations. The biggest challenge is, what will happen if business does something that is sensitive to the organization, right? They might ask for a credit card. They may not know, right? With the right intent, they can still get PII information as part of the application they are creating. So here we are talking about eyes on and hands off approach, right? IT knows what is happening in that layer, but the hands off, they don't implement that. They give control to the business, but still govern and control that layer so the business users are not doing anything that affects the whole organization, right? So that's what we call a citizen development. And with that, I'll probably the last 2 minutes to talk about what we do at 𝐿𝐴. 𝐿𝐴 is one of the most successful citizen development platforms in the world. It's used by more than 1,500 customers, enterprise customers around the world. In more than 160 countries, we have millions of users. A lot of big brands use 𝐿𝐴, right? And widely recognized by all the analysts in the world, not just Gartner and Forrester, pretty much every other analyst in the world as well, in the citizen development, as a citizen development platform. I'll probably end with one use case. One of the biggest banks in Southeast Asia, they bought 𝐿𝐴 like a couple of years back, only for 100 users inside the organization, right? The CIO is like, they want to enable citizen development so that pretty much all their needs, the business users will be able to implement it themselves. In the last 2 years, we have grown to 18,500 users in 𝐿𝐴, right? They've automated more than like 75 processes. This is probably an outdated list. They have added a lot more in the recent times. But the speed in which they can develop and deploy these applications is just a matter of days, right? When the business needs something, they'll be able to immediately create an application and use it internally inside the organization, right? So this is not just in Philippines, pretty much in all the big deployments they have, it is about enabling the business. It's about giving control to the business so that they can automate their work, right? That's what KISSFlow is about. Your rights are outside. If you want to understand use cases that are very specific to BFSI, we'd love to have a conversation with you. So I'm giving like 5 minutes back to you so that you can enjoy your lunch. Thank you. Bye-bye.